Alright, I'm just gonna come out and say it. Nobody complaining about the PlayStation 5 prices know what they're talking about.
You try and argue that it does, I would just slap the glass pipe out of your hands.
And yes, I realize that's a bold statement to make. But let me get a few things straight before you bombard the comments with a plethora of unfounded equus shit. Number 1, $700 is a lot of money for the average person, and number 2, I'm not buying the PS5 Pro. With those two facts out of the way, let's go over why this topic pisses me off. For a little background, I've owned every PlayStation console, but I grew up poor, so anytime I needed to upgrade to the next generation, I've sold the previous version, a stockpile of games, and winded my older brother to cover the difference. I've played many classics, but like anyone else, there are exceptions I never got my hands on. I had an excellent childhood thanks to gaming, and even though I've transitioned my gender from console to PC, I still daily my PS5 as a glorified streaming device. Fun fact, by refreshing 7 tabs for 6 hours straight, on the clock, I managed to snag a PS5 for retail at launch. Priorities. Bonus fact, the first videos on my channel were all recorded and edited on my PS5. So yes, I am a PlayStation guy through and through. So let's cut the crap. The internet whining about the price is something I initially subscribed to, something you should do to my channel. Shit is expensive these days, and a $300 jump from the discless and disc tray versions with basically just a performance upgrade is debatably outrageous. It looks cool though, not gonna lie. But what exactly did we spend on the previous generations? Strap in, Buttercup, I'ma learn you a thing. Unveiled at the now extinct E3 in 1995, Sony dropped a bombshell that would shake the gaming industry. $299. Not only were they releasing their first console, but it was $299, dumping on the chest of the $399 Sega Saturn. There weren't any games bundled with it, even though that's been commonplace for ages, but developers would gradually fixate on the PlayStation as their console of choice for new titles. In a similar vein, the PS2, who is still the reigning king of console sales, dropped its balls in the year 2000. For reference, the Xbox 360 sold half the amount of consoles. Both the PS2 and PS5 shared similar difficulties at launch, being that both were so popular, it was hard to find either in stores for a time. Starting prices was initially $299 in North America, same as its older brother, but in 2 years would drop its price in the region to $199. That can feed a family of 3 at McDonald's these days. So not bad, Sony. Not bad at—
Oh my goodness!
What the Yes, you saw that right. Way back in 2006, the PS3 was unveiled at a whopping $499. Holy balls, that's a jump. It was so expensive, in fact, that my family didn't get our hands on one until 2009. The PS3 was in direct competition with the Xbox 360 or some shit, which was when many would call the peak of the console wars. In 2013, Sony decided to point a middle finger at Xbox and released the PS4 for $399, as opposed to Microsoft's $499. Yes, you heard that right, GTA 5 came out the year the PS4 did. What the fuck, Rockstar? Last but not least is the PS5. Oh boy, here we go. Released in the year the world stood still, the PS5, as I'm sure you all know, dropped 2 models at $399 and $499. The PS5 prices at launch were so low, in fact, that Sony's profit margin was abysmal from a business standpoint. This is an incredible price for what was being offered, and at the time, these far outperformed any PC in the $1,000 price range. There was an extreme amount of controversy surrounding scalpers, consoles getting bricked by dogshit games like Cyberpunk, and FOMO that would take the world by storm. As mentioned earlier, unlike many of you losers, I got the first batch with the disk drive at $499. Adjusted for inflation, these are how much all 5 consoles would cost if released at the time of me making this video. That enough time for you? Just for fun, here are the prices of console games those same years, along with their prices adjusted for inflation. Looking at all these numbers, even though $699 isn't cheap, it's not an outrageous price for a higher spec machine. Is it a big jump? Yes, but contextually it's not the worst. And past Pro models have always been just a performance boost with a distinct redesign as well, so keep that in mind. Think of it like if you have an iPhone 14 and you're looking at the 16 Pro Max. If you already have the 14, the 16 is not a significant enough upgrade to justify the purchase. But if you don't have a high-end Android phone, or you're still in the prehistoric last-gen days, this is an upgrade that is genuinely pretty solid. In my personal opinion, however, the prices should have been $599 and $699, unless they had features that really sold the average consumer. I mean, these side-by-sides aren't exactly selling anyone, but most people crying about the prices are commenting on their $1,000 plus iPhone or their $2,000 plus MacBook Pro or iPad. How privileged of many of you to upgrade annually and get ripped off by your carriers when inflation is butt-fucking the middle class. You're complaining because it's not what you're willing to spend money on. Which is fair, I'm not the target audience either. We are so spoiled for choice that unless companies come up with something eye-catching or new, they get dunked on. I mean, what exactly is the difference between the iPhone and the PS5 and the PS5 Pro? Let's compare some basic specs and hardware to find out. The GPU, or the graphics performance, has increased its compute units by 67%. Cool, but is that a lot? Well, yes. But only if you really want that kind of power. In simpler terms, it's like comparing 4K 60 HDR with 4K 120 HDR with ray tracing. I'm not saying that matter of fact, by the way, it's just an example. The RAM is also going to be 28% faster from 440 gigabits a second to around 560 gigabits a second. A difference the average person will not feel at all. Sony says that thanks to the GPU and RAM improvements, the performance should increase by around 45%. On paper, that is excellent. But similar to the iPhones, unless you're using applications or games that utilize that power, it's just not going to be noticed by most people. It's also important to note that instead of the garbage 825 gigabytes the base model came with, the Pro will have a 2TB SSD. I don't know how much of that will be taken up by software or firmware, but it is a very, very welcomed improvement. Last but not least is that the base plate will not be included. I see no way of defending this when it comes standard with the base models. Come on, Sony, do better. Before you yell at me when you didn't even watch past the first minute of the video, I have to address what initially made me want to make this video. The disc tray controversy. Don't pretend like you bastards use Blu-rays or DVDs anymore. You download all your games online or you play them on your phone. What, do you still use cable as well? Thought so. People should be complaining about the price in general, not that it should come with a tray for $6.99. I think it's good that there's a cheaper option without the thing I haven't used at all in the last 4 years. I mean, do your PCs have disc trays? Do your cars? Then shut the fuck up. $6.99 without a disc tray and $7.99 is a lot compared to the initial prices. Yes, but this is an all-in-one package. It's not a PC where you can upgrade the graphics card or RAM or literally anything else whenever you want. This is a one and done with expandable storage. It isn't exactly designed for everyone, and that's fine. Plus, the average console owner owns them significantly longer than any other annually refreshed device. So that should be factored in when making these arguments. So Sony, if you're watching this, pull a Sonic the Hedgehog and get bullied into making a positive change. Drop the prices by $100 on both models, and the internet will sing your praises. That is all. Bye.